there's you guys and there's Reed and Terry. I believe so. Yeah. Terry, you there? Terry? You're muted. She's on the phone. I don't know if she knows how to unmute herself on the phone. I don't know if I know how to tell her how to unmute herself on the phone.
Yeah, I know how to do that. So remind me, is a forum 4 people or 5?
Well, it's four.
4 out of 7. Okay.
Yeah.
2/3. All right.
Let's see. I'm just gonna text Emily really quick just to see if she can give me instructions on getting this owl sound to work.
Yeah, given that we don't have any guests other than Reed, who you're always here. We
What's
can
that?
probably take a moment to try to get it working better.
Yeah, let me see if I can get it working.
Looks like Terry hung up. She's probably trying to figure out how to
Yeah.
work controls. It does say when you join via phone, it tells you what to press to unmute, but then you have to remember it. It's like *1 or something, or *6 to unmute
Maybe
yourself.
it's *6.
That sounds familiar, but
Maybe *6. Yeah. I don't know. I can't find her. I can't find her phone. So.
So Terry left.
it's a really interesting view of the room there,
Yeah, you like it?
with a panoramic view at the top. I don't know if you see it, but I see a panoramic view of you guys in the room.
Maybe that's Terry again. Oh, so I'm getting
now
some
can you hear me?
sound from my computer to the owl, just not my voice.
Can you hear me, Melinda?
Yeah, just barely.
Okay. So I'm not sure how well this is going to work for me. My coverage, cell coverage is spotty.
Oh, okay. And you're
I
not
hear
able to
every
join
third
by
word.
computer?
No, I can't.
Uh-huh.
Couldn't get it to work.
Okay,
I'm technically challenged.
okay. Yeah, so the noises from my computer are making it to the owl, but my voice is not, or, you know, their voices are not, and my voices are not.
Yeah.
Which is really strange, but it is what it is, I guess. I don't know. So you guys want to, I guess, start?
Okay. So Terry, Reed, Carl, Laura, 4 people.
Yep. What do you think?
Yeah, but right now we have a quorum, right? 4 out of 7. Okay. All right. Terry, were you able to read the minutes?
Not really. No,
Okay.
I read them.
No, I just
I
wondered
didn't get
because
a
you won't
chance.
be able to see them unless they're there.
So Terry,
No.
is there something going on with your computer? Because you've usually joined by computer.
Right. I'm at camp.
Oh, you're
and
at camp.
I tried
Okay, I
to-
get it. All right.
I'm at camp.
I see.
So I just couldn't get it to work.
Yeah.
And my
all right.
phone is really, I'm hearing about every third word.
Oh.
So it's not
Mhm.
great
Well-
connection. So
You can abstain.
I'm probably just
from
going to be
minutes.
able to
I was
listen.
reading Robert's Rules of Order, and a quorum is the number of people present, not the number of people voting.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's okay if you don't vote on something, Terry, if you're unable to see it or
Okay,
want to abstain.
Okay,
Okay.
well, let's start the meeting. Reed Willis, do you have any public comment? She's still on mute.
can you unmute?
Sorry, no comment. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Reed. Is there any, does any one of the members of the commission have anything that they need to say about the agenda, items that might not be on the agenda? Okay.
All good.
So let's look at the minutes of June 16th. There were just a couple things. Let me turn the volume down.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I just did that, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you project the minutes?
Yeah, hold on. Sure.
It's okay. This is our first time. We're going to be able to figure this out.
Right.
I did
how
have
come- oh, I see.
a
Hold on.
comment or correction, Laura.
Wait a minute. Looking for. Nope.
Is it that one on the right?
I saw
nope.
it there for a minute.
Oh,
He probably
yeah,
has
here it
the
is.
minutes in front of him.
Okay,
There we go.
got it.
Yep, I can see. Can you hear me, Laura? Hello, can you hear me?
The comment I had was under NR 206 proposal. I think there was a
I
typo.
had one under here,
Okay.
number 2 public comment. You had a vote of 7-0, but there were only 6 of us present. So 6-0 on the vote.
Oh, that was
Okay.
good catch there.
Can you guys hear me?
Can they hear us?
I can hear you.
I think so.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Well, any other?
Yeah, under NR 206 proposal, I had. Right there. The second to last line, Carl and Eric stated they did not think that the 2 surveys per location is not enough data. Wouldn't it be is enough data?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Kim said she thinks the survey should be longer, I guess, for a longer time period. It just looks awkward, but it's fine.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Well, I'll move that the minutes be approved as amended.
Do I hear a second?
Okay. There's something. Oh my gosh, there's something going on. Volume.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk. Can you hear me?
All right.
Can you read that here?
I don't think he can hear you. This is really frustrating. Okay. Mhm. All right, let's enable that. Okay, hey Reed, could you try talking again?
Yeah. Can you
Okay,
hear
now
me?
I can hear you now, just barely.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk as close as possible to my headset microphone.
Yeah. Obviously that there's a problem with the meeting and Owl and I can't figure it out. So I can hear you, but just on my computer.
Okay, what I was trying to say is there's a section in the minutes that talks about trees in neighborhoods
Mhm.
and the standards for tree diversity and stuff. Trying to find it. Okay, section 4 or item
Mhm.
4,
Yeah.
the work plan at the very bottom. Terry asked about development standards. There was an important piece of that that's missing here, which was that I commented that the standards went into place at a certain point in time, and so developments prior to that may not have the diversity that's called for in the current standard.
Uh-huh.
So I thought that was an important item. And the only other item was I had thought that Matt was taking note of which sections in the annual report various people were going to take the first stab at editing, but I don't see
Yeah,
that in the minutes.
and that's actually written in the notes in the draft report in the margins.
Okay.
I just wrote notes as to who was responsible for each
Okay,
section.
perfect. Those are my only comments.
Okay.
I'll move approval as amended.
Okay, Reed moved approval as amended, so you can ask before.
Oh, okay. I'll second it.
Okay, Carl is seconding. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, we have aye. We have 3 ayes and Terry Marin, who is abstaining. All right, so let's take a look at the comprehensive plan implementation table. And we did go over this in our last meeting, but with Melinda here, I think the commission wanted to take another look at it. I wasn't here for probably a lot of the work that was done towards some of these items.
Can you enlarge it slightly, Melinda? Just increase your zoom a little bit. Thank you. Perfect.
So I don't know how you want to do it. Do you want to just kind of talk about all the highlighted green areas?
The yellow is the ones that.
Yeah, the highlighted ones.
Is that right?
Right, yeah, if we could go, what about going through them one at a time and just talking about where we are with them and if we want to, and when we want to pursue them and what we have done with them.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's start with develop a transfer development rights program. I know we've been talking about that, but we haven't developed one. Is that correct, Melinda?
Yes, and I think this is something that will need to be put on hold because we're not sure what the requirements are going to be for either density or growth management in the growth center. And so until we get that figured out, we don't know what a transfer of development rights program could look like. Like right now, the way it is, there's a statement in the bylaw that says transfer development rights is allowed where development rights can be transferred from the ARZD to the growth center. So that basically, if somebody doesn't want to develop their property who lives in the ARZD, but they want, but somebody else wants to develop more than the allowed density in the growth center, they could technically buy the development rights from that rural property owner and increase their density in the growth center. But we don't even know yet whether like that rule may be changing in the future. We may not put a cap on density in the growth center, and we just haven't figured that out yet.
Okay.
So that's sort of on hold. This refined watershed protection buffers we've been working on, and that is just pending select board adoption. So that is going to be transmitted to the select board along with some other amendments. And they, may or may not adopt it.
How has it been refined?
So we had several discussions last over, I don't know, I want to say it's been a while, but during some of our meetings to allowing more flexibility with the watershed protection buffers for existing non-conforming properties in exchange for some mitigation measures.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
When we're on this topic, can I ask a question about buffers, wetland buffers? And that is, can solar arrays be placed in wetland buffers?
That is a good question. I believe so, because solar is not regulated under our bylaw. So it's exempt from our regulations. I'm not sure if the same can be said for the state wetland rules. But I believe that like if a project is regulated under 248 or by the Public Service Commission, that it is not subject to like Act 250 or any other like state regulations, but I'm not totally sure about that.
So we would have to. Homeowners association contact.
Right.
Yeah,
She says Zoom isn't work. Kim says Zoom isn't working for me. That's interesting. All right. All right. So Zoom. Oh, she says her internet is not working.
Her internet's not working. Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay. We'll learn it.
Yeah.
Everything's hard at first.
Okay. So anything?
Yeah. I think we can go on to the next highlighted. I think it's a ways down there.
Okay.
9.4. All right, so maintain existing country parks. I mean,
This is sort of like
yeah,
kind of ongoing.
yeah, develop additional country parks.
The main thing we're doing right now with that is we hired the trail steward position. Right,
Yeah.
Melinda? That's
Yeah.
kind of the main activity at the moment.
Right. Yeah.
And we decided to kind of put a hold on developing additional country parks, correct? Because the ones we have are, we have to figure out how to come up with the money to maintain them.
Well, I think, I mean, there is the Jacob parcel,
Oh, that's true.
but that's sort of right now
It's on the slow road.
it's on the slow road, and it may not be owned by the town. It'll likely be owned by Winooski Valley Park District, but it's a similar idea. It's another facility in town.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so we're gonna,
um,
and we're certainly preparing management plans for the country parks. We're doing Mud Pond today.
right,
Country park.
the conservation area, right?
I wonder if we need to change country park to in conservation area,
I
but,
think
It's further down.
oh, it is, okay.
Yeah.
All right, expand the trail system. We've talked about that.
Mhm.
Stop me if anybody has any comments. Continue to cooperate with other towns to manage recreational facilities. And Melinda, I mean, you're involved with the 4 other towns, so you're, I mean, is that for trails that would continue on into other towns?
Yeah, presumably.
Okay,
And I think it has to, I think, yeah, so it has to do with Lake Iroquois. So it's basically, there's the 4-town collaborative that's managing the Lake Iroquois Recreation District. So basically, I mean, it's kind of phrased generically, but I think it's, if you look over at Objective 9.6 Lake Iroquois, it's sort of referring to Lake Iroquois.
okay, gotcha. And they just put the milfoil treatment in. Do you know how that went? Okay. All right. Okay, moving on unless there's comment. Okay, stream restoration. Yeah, I would actually be interested in knowing what the completed and ongoing restoration projects have been and are.
Um,
And we have a bit
Yeah.
of an update on that today, right, from Sustainable Williston's activities.
Yeah, that's one site. I guess, Laura, I could probably point you to somewhere on the website. So I'm just gonna switch screens for a second here, just so I can tell you where to find this information.
Okay.
So let's see. So basically this
Oh, there it
Kinda-
is. Okay, stream buffer restoration.
talks about that. And then I guess there's some report. Let me see if this still. Yeah, so this is a report that kind of talks about the main effort. There's stuff that happened after this was done, but this kind of gives you an idea of what it entailed.
All right, great, thank you.
Sure. Where are we here?
All right, and ongoing is, we're still waiting to see if Gary can find some, he was seeing if there were elms available, correct? Plant in,
So ongoing is just, like I can give you some information about what Sustainable Williston is doing, but there's a restoration, a pretty recent restoration project in back of Community Park along the Allen Brook boardwalk, on both sides of the boardwalk. That was one that was done pretty recently. And there may be more coming down the pike that we don't know about, but the idea is that, periodically there will be new plantings and just sort of maintaining those as they
okay,
happen.
and so Sustainable Williston has been doing a lot of that.
They've been focused on a site that I'll
Okay,
talk about later on.
Okay.
And then the data collection is now happening through the Chittenden County Stream Team. They've kind of taken over the sampling of the Allen Brook. But that will continue to happen, albeit on a smaller scale than we did before. And then, yeah, if looking at that data to help prioritize for the future stream restorations and other implementation measures. I consider all those as sort of ongoing.
Right.
The other thing is Muddy Brook. We haven't really done much restoration of the Muddy Brook. I think there was a restoration done at one site back in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, the border between South Burlington and Williston, right?
Yes, right. So that may be something to kind of maybe focus on in the future, partnering with outside organizations to do that work.
Or can we partner with South Burlington?
And South Burlington, yeah. And that's part of what the Champlain Valley Conservation Partnership is working on. It's just ways to partner together on those water quality efforts and stream restoration.
Okay,
So,
all right.
right. Okay, that's, and again, protect and restore floodplains and upland forested areas that attenuate and moderate flooding and fluvial erosion. So that's just sort of a continuing on that vein of just looking for high priority areas to protect via conservation and to restore via stream restoration.
Okay.
And then the conservation areas. So the conservation areas being Mud Pond Conservation Area. What are the other ones? Brownell Mountain.
Brownell, yeah.
Johnson Falls, yeah. Yeah, and Burr Oaks, I think, is another conservation area.
I've never heard of Johnson Falls.
Governor Chittenden Road, where Governor Chittenden Road
Oh,
comes
okay.
into Route 2.
Mhm.
Okay.
Stuff that road.
Okay, that's a natural area. Okay.
So we haven't really, we're working on the Mud Pond Conservation Area Management Plan.
Right.
Others, I don't think Brownell has a management plan, does it?
It had,
Or is it
had,
natural resource inventory?
yeah, it had, one of Alicia Daniels' classes. I can't remember what they did on it. They did present a report. I think it was a management.
Right, that was like very long time ago, like early 90s.
1994.
Yeah, okay. So I know this year we're working on Mud Pond and that's gonna probably take the next few months to do that one. I don't know, we might consider, as you think it's appropriate, doing a management plan for another different conservation area, such as Brownell Mountain. That might be something to think about for the next upcoming year. And, maybe, I don't know, maybe utilizing the help of NR 206 to do that. I don't know, something to think about.
Okay.
And then, this assessing the significant wildlife habitat data for continued relevance, that's something that we've been working on with Jens. Promote private stewardship of conservation areas.
So is that like adopt a trail?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
Some of the conservation areas are on private land.
Okay.
I see.
So,
Okay.
and we don't really,
Hmm.
we haven't really done too much of it. I'm thinking of Johnson Falls, the Luge Forest, as it was
Deluge Forest.
Yeah, that's the Upwindy Forest, the south of.
Oh, the Grandma Ridge?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good example, actually, because isn't that owned by more than one landowner or on more than one property?
Most things.
By Peter Judge, right? Yeah, okay.
Okay, and so to promote private stewardship, what would we just let them know why it's an important conservation area? Or I'm not sure what that means.
Looks like Reed might be getting ready to say something, but maybe not.
No, just trying to get comfortable. I'm a bit under the weather.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know.
It's not something we've explored much.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I think the way, sort of the way that I view that, and it's sort of not restricted to just the few named conservation areas, but you know, there is the idea of just promoting good stewardship of like privately owned forests, you know, and so
Okay, yeah.
like how might you do that? You know, maybe working with the county forester, maybe you know, doing some outreach to private landowners on how they can do good stewardship on their land and stuff like that. I don't know. That's something that, you know, if you chose to focus on, there's definitely you know,
What
things
about
to
Vermont?
discuss.
There's a program, they call it, that basically does just that.
Is that Vermont covered or Vermont? So Audubon, I'm mixing up the two. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I took a course on private, have owning your private small woodlot, and that was really helpful too, but I don't know if that would be something that most people in Williston could do, because they don't have more than maybe a couple acres, so.
Yeah.
Okay, should it say stewardship of conservation areas and private woodlots or?
Yeah. I mean, this isn't something, we're not going to edit this because
Right.
this is part of the town plan, but definitely
Okay.
when we get around to
for the next version.
the next town plan, you should think about, you know, what, you know, it's, you know, you should think about the long-term planning goals and objectives and how
Yeah,
maybe
it could-
reframing some of these, maybe coming up with new
Yeah, it
ones.
could in the future be something like promote private stewardship of natural resources or something more general that
Right.
Okay,
covers all the activities we do.
Yeah.
okay, especially maybe some of the businesses too that are along the Ellenbrook.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay,
And then this is the same thing. It's
Right,
sort of the
yeah,
same thing
yeah.
repeated. Update the visual resource assessment. And then this other one, explore new methods to illustrate visual impact of development. I think that's an interesting one because we, for site plan reviews, we've been relying on this very old viewshed assessment done in 1989, I think it was. So I think, you know, I think it would be worthwhile considering how we might update that. You know, a lot of the views that were in 1989 have changed, right? And I also think the way that viewshed was done is kind of I don't know, esoteric, and it's hard to understand in some ways. They talk about foreground and middle ground and background and
I've read some of
secondary
that.
and primary
Yeah,
and
and it was very confusing to me. I had to kind of
yeah,
look up terms or whatever, like what's primary versus secondary and.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm sure there's different ways to do this. And
It's been confusing to me since 1950.
okay, so that tells you right there that
So that might be-
definitely
okay.
be worth considering
Okay,
for the work plan. I don't know if this year, maybe this year, maybe next year.
okay, it's good to keep in mind.
Yeah, and then that's pretty much
It also
it for
seems like
the,
we should keep our ears open for potential student projects, because Viewshed
Yeah.
is probably not something they get exposed to a lot. Could be an
Yeah.
interesting project, and it's definitely hands-on, going out and actually looking and taking photographs, and I could see
yes,
that being an interesting project.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay. So,
So it seems as though, from my perspective, we are working heavily on maybe 25% of the highlighted items in there.
Yeah.
We've been having background activities or just baseline ongoing maintenance on 50%, and there's maybe 25% like the view sheds and the private landowner work that perhaps and the management plans for conservation areas, where perhaps there's more we can do if we have the right time and, I don't know, the right impetus to dig into it.
yeah. Right. I don't know. So I know it's kind of hard to have a conversation about this when only 3 of you are here and it's difficult to hear. So hopefully, maybe if we can get a bunch of people in the room, or I can figure out the sound so that so that we can hear everybody, you might, I don't know, continue the discussion. But
I'm really glad that we had the hybrid today, because I wouldn't be able to be there in person since I'm
yeah,
symptomatic.
sure.
So
Yeah.
it's nice that we have it once we get it working fully.
Right,
Right.
yeah. He said he's glad that we have the hybrid set up, because otherwise he wouldn't have been able to attend the meeting. And hopefully we can get the sound working next
Yeah.
time so that we can hear everybody. Yeah.
And then we can discuss this more fully, because it looks like
Yeah.
we're working on a good part of it already.
Yeah, right. So, as far as coming up with specific action items for the coming year, maybe we could, I think I sort of see that as the next step, as like, we're going to work on X, Y, and Z for the coming fiscal year. And
Yeah.
maybe, if the opportunity arises with NR 206 or some other, or another student group, maybe we could tackle the visual resource assessment.
Yeah, could we make an initial short bulleted list right now, Melinda, so that we have something
Sure.
to work off of with the larger group?
Yeah,
Because I think there's some pretty simple ones here. One idea was to create management plans for more of our conservation areas,
create management plans for
more conservation areas such as
more
Rhino Mountain.
conservation areas.
One was to monitor the TDR program. I guess it would to monitor the density requirements that are put in place for the growth center with an
Okay,
eye
so
toward TDR.
yeah, so basically, kind of keep TDR sort of in a holding pattern, and then once we know the density
Yeah,
requirements.
there are other aspects of TDR that we can be working on, such as identifying how we might handle the transactions,
Mhm.
whether the town would purchase development rights from those who are willing to sell them and keep some sort of stock of them, or whether we would only be a matchmaker between those looking to purchase and those looking to sell.
Mhm.
So that we have conversations we can have around, I guess, the methods of transferring the development rights,
Okay.
and funding sources for doing that is another
Uh-huh.
item. And then we talked about the visual assessment.
Okay.
Mhm.
Those were three,
And how to promote private stewardship.
and promoting private stewardship. Yeah,
Okay.
seems like that's a good short list of
So we
things that I think it will help
just talked about.
the rest
Yeah.
of the group get up to speed.
Okay.
I'm not sure 2022 fiscal year is the year to tackle all of those, but
Right.
it might be that we prioritize some.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay.
So, actually, it's pretty good timing because we were going to work on it until 8 o'clock and it's not quite 8 o'clock. So anything further on the comprehensive plan implementation table?
Mm-hmm. I don't, yeah.
Right, thank you, Reed. That was a good idea to actually put down the short list of what we can actually possibly work on this year.
Okay, so.
So we can go on to looking at the Mud Pond Conservation Area Management Plan.
Okay, so. Is that one? Nope. There it is.
Okay, my first question is, this already looks like a pretty comprehensive outline. Where did this come from? Is this an old one or is this something you just done?
So, for like the last few management plans, I've been working on standardizing them and basically just making each management plan the same format, the same sort of look and feel. So, there was a management plan back in 1993 that covered both the conservation area and the country park, that one that you have in your hand. So a lot of like the history and the ecology comes right from that. So basically I used that, the old plan, and I used the format of the most recent plan that we did, which was, I think, 5 Tree Hill, which was, again, just working on standardization to come up with this.
Gotta say, you've done a really nice job with it.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
It's,
Like,
looking through it.
right.
I didn't see much that we need to do beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of this, like the process is going to be the same for each management plan. So that I just took out of the last management plan. The responsibilities pretty much the same, like, and then, the sort of more general information, and then the land use history again came from that old plan, primarily from that old plan, as well as the and also some of this came from a ecological assessment that we had done for Mud Pond Country Park. But again, the information, especially about the geology and the hydrology, is generalized from the larger area. So I kind of took those pieces. And then again, natural history, natural communities came from that old plan, and wildlife habitat.
Do you know if anything has changed? For example, do we still have a four-toed salamander? Has anybody looked since this plan?
Well, I don't know if it's been documented in there. I have no idea when the last time there's been an observation.
That was an old observation from
Yeah.
back in the last century. And
Okay, nobody
I don't know that.
kind of looked built since?
And
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
The main difference is that the old one included the management plan for the country park. as
Right.
well as the conservation.
Okay.
Conservation area. It's good because, I mean, one of the points of the old one was that it said that, that restrictions should be the same in both
yes,
areas, which is not appropriate since we're biking in the country
Right.
park.
Right.
So it makes good sense to separate the two at this point.
Right, that makes
Whereas
sense. Okay.
it didn't back then.
yeah. And I think back in 2003, 2002, 3 is when you all made a separate management plan for the country park, because at that time, that's when the biking came in. And so at that time, I think it made sense to create separate plans, only this one was not ever done. So now we're finally getting around
Okay.
to creating a plan for the conservation area. And then, so basically, a lot of this is pretty basic information. Management objectives, I guess you can maybe think about the bullet points that I included and whether you think
Yeah,
these
this is where I
make
focused
sense.
my attention when I was reading this, Melinda, because the rest of
Yeah.
it seemed very fleshed out already.
Yeah. So, whether these make sense or whether you want to add more to this list or take out some of these.
Yeah, I had one question about, it said the WCC, I guess inspects let's see, snowmobile trails should be inspected yearly by the WCC. So is that like, Melinda, do you just go and look, or, I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, we should
Or-
change it to town staff, honestly. Like
Okay.
I've been trying to, because so we can change, I can make
Okay.
that change. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's ever really, been formalized, but certainly we walk the trails enough. And now the trail steward does that. If there's a problem on the vast trail, we're going to be on top of that. I've never really encountered any, any, I don't know, problems, except that, around Mud Pond, the vast trail is awfully wet, but, it's not a problem if they're just using it for winter use. And the trail, the walking trail is separate from the vast trail. The walking trail sort of takes the high ground.
right,
So it's not, I don't
Yeah,
see that as an
the
issue.
Hillhawks actually do a great job clearing the trail after storms, so.
They
that
do.
Helps part of the walking trail as well.
Right.
What's the
Yeah.
status of the kiosk there, Melinda? I saw a note in
It's-
here about upgrading it.
Oh, yeah, so it says, when the old one wears out, replace it with one that is sort of, looks more like the Country Park kiosk and the Five Tree Hill kiosk. So right now, there's just a sign that's brown with yellow lettering or something. It seems to be still in pretty good shape.
Okay. But it doesn't
but
have
it-
a kiosk per se. It has just a
It's just,
large sign.
it's just a sign. So, I think maybe even before it wears out, maybe we think about replacing it with a kiosk if you think that makes sense.
I was interested in the last bullet point you got there, establish the feasibility of the village.
Oh,
parking
yeah.
lot on the west side,
Yeah,
there's just that little pull off there now.
right.
And you kind of scrapped the whole idea of expanding the parking lot on the east side.
Yeah.
But how feasible is this, do you think?
Well, I don't know. There's a number of things that would have to be, a number of issues that would have to be addressed. Number one, getting permission from the Department of Public Works to even have a parking lot there.
I assume that they would have to take
They'd
care
ha-
of, correct?
Well, they'd have, No, they'd have to give us an access permit to access the
Oh.
road. So that's issue number one.
And that's right at the corner of, West.
It's Old Creamery.
Creamery.
So it's a dangerous intersection. However, right now, apparently it's become a popular spot for people to access the trail. And according to one
Can you
abutting
pull up a map,
landowner,
Melinda? If you don't
sure,
mind.
yeah, I can, let's see, how am I gonna do this?
I do want to get a better understanding of where this is.
Yeah, well, let me bring up, this map here, zoom in on this. So what I'm talking about is a parking lot right there at the intersection of Oak Hill Road and where the vast trail comes out. So this is Old Creamery, this is Oak Hill Road.
It's right where the crosstown trail crosses Oak Hill Road.
Yeah, where the.
Yeah, and Old Creamery comes in at an angle, right? It's kind of a Y.
Yes,
Yeah,
right.
okay. Yep.
So it would have to be like a little drive, and then the parking lot would be in it, like it wouldn't be road the way it is now. And Department of Public Works would have to grant an access permit for that. There may be wetlands there. It would likely require getting like an easement from Yandow. I think he owns the property right next door.
So would this be on, not seeing where it is relative to that corner?
Oh,
So,
it's toward Mud
yeah,
Pond.
let me,
Or
yeah, if it'd be helpful, I can pull up Google Earth too.
And there was a picture.
That would be helpful. Let's take a quick peek at it if you're open to it.
Yeah, let me just open it up. Oh my, Terry keeps like popping in and out here. I'm gonna share again. Here's what it looks like. So, all right, hold on, sharing screen to Google Earth. Can you see, Reed, can you see my screen?
Yes.
So what we're talking about is
That
something,
blue spot there.
yeah, sort of like a road that comes in and then a little parking lot somewhere in here. It would have to be at least 50 feet off the road.
I didn't realize how much is that pasture or just hayed field off to the east there. I didn't realize how
It's-
large that was.
It's Yandow, Dave Yandow owns it. I mean, it wouldn't have to, what I'm envisioning, it wouldn't have to be that big, but just something that could hold like, I don't know, 6 to 8 cars, something like that, you know? But
And the pink line that goes to the west there, up toward
yeah,
Pine Hill, is that a trail?
that's a trail. That's the Schmoker connection.
Smoker, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting proposition to have parking there. But it is a dangerous corner.
Yeah,
It's icy in the winter and
right.
Speed and visibility challenges all year round.
putting a parking lot in a way would be less dangerous than it is now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right now cars just kind of just pull off.
Yeah.
And when a few cars are in there, they kind of stick out a little.
So perhaps we don't see a reason to rule it out at this point, and we should leave it in as something to explore.
Yeah, I think it might be worth exploring. Maybe, it might be worth using some of the planning and engineering funds that we have to do a little feasibility scoping study on that. Something to think about. Seems to be a big demand for parking on that side, and according to the one abutting landowner, people are parking up and down Oak Hill Road too. Or at least were during COVID last year. So,
Yeah, so it's pretty dangerous.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
Mud Pond Road, is that a town-owned road? Is it?
Yes, it's a town-owned right-of-way.
Okay.
This section obviously not used anymore, but the town still owns the right-of-way.
Okay. All right.
So it's like, it's very wet.
It's
So.
very wet. Yeah. Yeah.
That's another obstacle, potentially. So, let's see, I'm going to share again.
Thanks for entertaining pulling up the map, Melinda.
What? Yeah, sure.
Seeing the satellite overlay of what's forested and what's not in that area was nice.
Yeah. I can't find, okay, here it is. Yeah, and so I was maybe thinking that, so there's going to be one, August, the first meeting in August, I'm actually going to be on vacation. So that might be a good idea to think about doing a site walk over there. I don't know, it's just a thought.
A site walk without you,
Yeah,
unless that's what you want to do on your vacation.
well, I'm going to be out of town, or I should say, I will be getting back very, very late the night before. So I'm probably not going to want to get up at 5 a.m. or whatever it is. I think we're getting in at midnight or something. So if
Cool.
everything goes well, right? Who knows, with these days, traveling these days. But anyway, let me zoom out on this again and go back to these things. And then so that's physical improvements.
I didn't see anything in the recommendations for physical improvements about invasives, but is that separate?
I think that's separate.
Because it wouldn't be a physical improvement, it would be like a management
General
recommendations.
management.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so there is something,
There you go.
controlling.
Monitor species. The 5th bullet point
Yeah,
has invasive species there. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure it was in there.
yeah,
And 6th bullet point. Oh, I didn't even see the 6th one on the next page. Okay.
yeah. And I think it's difficult, well, as we all know, managing invasives, because we're trying to manage invasives on all of the town conservation areas and country parks, or that's the goal, right? But as you know,
There's more than you could ever do.
Yeah,
It's overwhelming.
right.
You really need a band of volunteers.
Yeah,
that Get out there all the time.
yeah,
Like controlling climate change.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see if there's anything else.
I mean, those bullet points look good to me, both general management and physical improvements.
Okay, and I'm trying to think if there was. Oh, this was, yeah, so this was just the action items. And I think, in some plans, they're separated out into long-term and short-term. And I started to do that and I realized, it was hard to kind of tease that out, I guess, with this one for some reason. I guess mainly because now it seems with Mud Pond Conservation Area, besides the development of possibly an additional parking lot, it's kind of like, we're not really doing much more, or if any. So it's sort of,
They're
More
all
maintenance.
long-term.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
They're all as
Right.
needed.
Or they're
kind of
all
things.
short term, or yeah, they're all kind of ongoing.
These bullet points are summary of the previous.
Pretty, yeah. So,
You could separate it into one-time and ongoing items. Maybe that would be easier.
yeah,
Like the kiosk item is a one-time thing.
yeah,
Exploring the parking is a one-time. Maybe it's an ongoing thing. I
yeah.
see
So
the challenge. Yeah.
right, like when I started to, it was like there was only really one or two items that were sort of one-time things. So I'm like, just like put, I don't know, put it all together or something.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense. And, okay, so has Ethan Tapper said that he would take a walk to develop a forest management plan?
no,
Oh, okay, all right.
no. And I guess that's really, something you could talk about, or do you want to have a forest management plan? Do you want to have active management at Mud Pond Conservation Area besides controlling invasives, or do you want to have more hands-off? I don't know. Question.
I kind of feel that I'm more hands-off. I mean, we know what the problems are, and yeah, sometimes I think it's better to leave things alone.
Hmm.
I think so too. I think
Mhm.
contrast what we're doing with Catamount with more active management of creating those
Mhm.
open areas for wing warblers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's, just kind of a different illustration.
Right.
I'd be in favor of
Mhm.
a more passive.
I agree.
And so maybe it makes sense to really more definitively state that. I think I was sort of wishy-washy in here about possibly having forest management, but maybe you want to just
Yeah.
say, well, here, yeah, so here it is. So maybe you just want to say there's no plans, and the Conservation Commission has decided that it is appropriate to not to actively manage, but to, I don't know how you want to phrase it.
To do
Hands off.
passive
Yeah.
management.
Yeah.
Passive
So
management to me would include occasional, surveys of invasives and
yeah,
small things, but not
Right. Yeah,
like
we can still-
something that clearly contrasts with what we're doing at Catamount, to use Carl's example.
yeah. Right. Historic practice has been to prohibit cutting, except for so maybe this whole section can just sort of be cut
Yes.
and just say, for Mud Pond Conservation Area, the Conservation Commission has chosen to follow a passive management or has chosen.
Approach.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Right.
There's one other thing that I'll bring up, though. I saw in here that there was a elm, black ash, section along the Mud Pond, and I'm wondering, does it make sense if the black ash are going to die? If we should invite any of the Abenaki tribes to come in and use it for basket making before it dies.
And this was in Mud Pond, like around the
Yeah.
trail?
It says in here, where it's a description that somebody made up above, it says that
Maybe the natural
it's
communities
talking about the
area.
plants that are there, and it says there's a black ash elm. See, right
Oh, yeah, there it is. Red maple, black ash, American elm swamp.
yeah,
Huh. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, what people think about that idea.
Yeah. So for some reason, the sounds that I make, like when I, do something and the computer makes a sound, that's coming on the microphone, but my voice is not. Yeah, nobody's voice is.
What, click on the, let me find your toolbar, the Zoom toolbar, like where it has the
Oh,
microphone
okay.
symbol.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, click that arrow next to the microphone.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I can hear you.
Oh,
Everybody in the
Cool.
room.
except it's still, is it working? Like-
Wait, go back, click that drop down again.
Okay.
It'd be nice to hear Reed.
Yeah.
Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, click that drop down.
Yeah,
And
you
then
gotta
click
get-
that one should be, speaker and mic should be owl.
How about now, Reed?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
There we go.
It's like I'm there. Emily to the rescue.
Reed, it's nice to hear your voice.
Oh my gosh, all right. So it was all in Zoom settings.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
we'll know for next time.
All right, so should we maybe put that as one of the bullet points, like about the
I like the idea of offering it. I don't know where that is and feasibility for harvest, but I also don't know what the harvest process is, whether it's processed somewhat in place and then just materials are removed or what. I'm not familiar with how the black ash gets used, so
What's happened to that community since 1993?
Right, exactly.
yeah,
Maybe
are there
that's-
even black ash there? Yeah.
I mean,
So
yeah,
maybe I'm wondering if there should be a bullet, just to maybe have somebody do an inventory of the ash in light of EAB.
Yeah.
And then once an inventory is done, if there's an opportunity to harvest some of the black ash or to invite the Abenaki to harvest. I don't know, so there's an idea in there that's.
Thumbs
Yeah.
up from me.
yeah, and they also have said, I mean, rather than harvesting, they like to say that if you have black ash, they will steward it. So I'm not sure what they do to do that, but especially if it's all going to die.
Right.
And I know that they're from what I've read, it's very selective what trees they actually would take to make their baskets. But I do think that would be something that we can, and I know from my son's partner that you have to just be very careful about saying you're invited to come, because inviting
yeah.
somebody into your own house.
Makes it sound like it's yours.
Right. And so I try to be careful, but I know I slip up a lot, so.
Maybe start a conversation with them about Harvesting or utilizing any black ash that are identified.
Yeah, so are you saying start a conversation with them now before
No,
the
I'm just saying that might be the language that you're looking for is,
language? Okay,
yeah, is to start a conversation with them or start a dialogue about whether any black ash that remains should be harvested.
okay, that's a great idea. So that would be a bullet point,
Yeah, but first we have to figure out where that is and if it's still there.
right?
Yep.
I imagine it still is there.
Well, maybe I'm wondering if it makes sense. If we should ask someone from the Abenaki tribe to see if they are interested in investigating and seeing if it's still there,
Yeah,
or doing some sort of inventory.
yeah, I mean, I've had conversations with Don Stevens and he put me in touch with some basket makers who would be interested, so I can see if they want to just go look.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
I like it.
Where is this supposedly located in?
Supposedly it's sort of near the pond, close to the pond edges. According to what's described.
The east side or the west side?
Doesn't say. But, yeah.
yeah, maybe next time I walk there, it's hard for me to recognize black ash, but I know it's,
Well, probably any ash, well,
That close. Yeah, if it's in the swampy area, it's probably not
yeah,
green ash. So
and the ash is just the thick branches with opposite
yeah,
twigs or whatever.
yes. Opposite branching patterns.
Opposite branching. Huh,
the Vermont Master Naturalist community is also a possible place to get somebody to do an inventory.
Yeah, that's true.
right. Let's see, so. As far as the plan goes. Do you have any other thoughts or things that you wanna?
Yeah, I think those are the only things that I had thought of.
We go back to that full list of action items at the bottom one more time.
Sure. Oops. Much it.
Who currently has adopted this one?
Terry Marin has adopted the west side, and then a woman named Phoebe. God, what was her last name? There's a list of the trail adopters.
The other thing I was going to say is if somebody's going to go in and do an inventory as ash, it might be a good opportunity to have them walk it with the adopter.
Yeah.
Right,
It's a chance to engage our adopters, and they might learn something too along the process.
And also, if we devote a meeting to walking the trail, good to have the trail
Yeah,
adopted.
certainly invite them.
that's a great,
Okay.
yeah. Is that something, Reed and Carl and Terry, if you're there, would be interested in doing on August 4th while Melinda's on vacation?
Yeah, I'm interested.
Okay,
I think so.
all right, I think that we should plan on that.
I think Terry's trying to talk.
Yeah, so sure. What date was that?
I think it's August 4th. Yes, August 4th.
Yeah, 7 to 9 a.m. Same time as our
Okay, that's
meeting.
good.
And we just have to, since you're one adopter of the Mud Pond Trail, Terry, we would just have to invite the other adopter, Phoebe.
Yeah, I could probably do that.
Okay,
All
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
guess-
it would be nice to coordinate with the person over on the east side. Yeah, that would be great. So
Yeah.
Melinda, you'll do that?
I can do that.
Okay, great.
Cool.
All right.
And, okay, so this one I'm just gonna scratch out of there, because we're not gonna
Yes.
do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool,
Yeah, I listened to a lot of webinars over COVID, like a zillion.
yeah,
And yeah, there's one group that really strongly encourages people to take some part of their public parks or conservation areas and just set them aside and leave them alone without any forest management.
mhm. Okay,
I'm good with the remainder of the bullet points. Thanks for putting them back up, Melinda.
sure. So, I think, sounds like I have a little work to do on that, and I can do that. As far as the process goes, I've got this up on the website, and I need to do a little outreach as far as posting something on Front Porch Forum and the town website saying that it's up there and we're soliciting comment.
Oh, great.
I also need to send it out to various partners like wetlands, probably send it to Ethan, just, you know.
Right.
The
And-
adopted trail people should take a look at it too. I know that
Yeah.
includes you, Terry, but Phoebe, the other person, should
Okay,
review it before it gets voted on.
okay.
Do you want me to also, or should we send it to Dave Yandell? I mean, I know him personally, I could send it to him.
Well, yeah, I was
Or not.
thinking that I wanted to do some outreach to budding landowners.
Okay.
Like I can just mail them a letter saying
Okay, good.
that the plan is available on the website and we can furnish hard copies on request. So
Oh,
if
perfect.
anybody wants a hard copy, they can contact me. And so abutting landowners will get like a letter, and then it'll be posted on the website and Facebook pages and Front Porch Forum. And also sent out to specific other partners, like state partners. Trying to think of who else, other organizations to send it to. There's no conservation easements, so Vermont Land Trust doesn't really need to have it.
Okay.
So yeah, wetlands, Ethan, maybe just trying to think. I don't know, if you think of other
Okay.
organizations or partners.
Who are the abutting landowners? Is it many? Because they all
Not-
kind of touch, or no?
Well, if
Or,
I look again at Google Earth here, it's not, well, it's some, but yeah, it's Yandell, there's a few, there's probably like maybe a dozen, maybe a few more. The Cycles, of course, will be one.
Yeah,
wow, there are a lot, yeah.
how about that? How about that guy that's always
Yeah,
moaning about parking?
well, technically, he's not an abutter, but we probably should send him a letter anyway.
Okay.
because he's close, and yes, he has complained about parking, so yeah, he should definitely get.
Okay.
He should get a letter. Yeah, so there'll be about, figure about a dozen, maybe 15 at most.
Okay.
So, and I know that, I think the only time we've really done this was the last plan, 5 Tree Hill. We sent out a butters letters, and I did get a lot of comment that way. So, especially about the hunting, which,
Right.
so yeah, I imagine that's probably a good way to get comment.
Mhm.
Anyway. So,
Yeah, Dave Yandell knows a lot of the history of the conservation area also.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
He might be interested in coming along on the August 4th walk.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. So if I get a butters letter out soon, then I can invite folks to go on the sidewalk.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. I
Yep.
think that,
I think that's a good idea.
all right.
who's gonna lead that walk per se in terms of deciding where we go and stuff?
I can do that.
You can, Laura? Okay. Great. And just want to make sure we have somebody identified who's going to direct the group.
Yeah, I can do that.
And where are we going to start from? Which might need to go into the letter.
We will start from the regular parking area.
Okay.
And if you can carpool, we might want to meet here first and carpool.
Yeah,
These commission members.
commission members can carpool from the annex, and others are welcome to meet us at the trailhead on Mud Pond Road.
I'll bring my Suburban and vacuum the dog hair out of it beforehand.
All right, yeah, okay. Let's see,
Just
so,
that's probably important for any notification that's going to go out. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So,
7 a.m.
yeah, I'll
Nothing.
say by the time
ahead.
you all get out there, 7:15-ish
So,
or
yeah.
something like that. All right.
All right.
Sounds good. It's like I got my work cut out for me here.
Carl's right. The first draft though is really, really good, Melinda. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Excellent.
for all that work.
It wasn't actually a whole lot of work. It wasn't as hard as I thought it would just.
That's what you get from standardization, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. So this is, I think, well, depending on if we end up doing a management plan for Brownell Mountain, this will be like the one of the last plans with that's where we've done a management plan from sort of from scratch. I guess it's not really from scratch, but it's sort of, you know. So from here on in, like when we update the plans, we're not going to be reinventing the wheel. We'll just be looking at this plan and deciding what, if anything, to change.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make it easier. Okay, so
Okay, anything else on the conservation area management plan and our plans for the walk? If not, we're right on time. Pardon, Reed?
I'm good.
Okay, we're right on time for staff report and other business.
yeah, so let me stop. And I'm gonna share a document. Hold on. Share this thing here. So I wanted to just share some information about some of the work Sustainable Williston is doing via repair and restoration. A group of folks from Sustainable Williston has been focusing on improving this site at Talcott Road, which is yeah, so right across from the fire station off Talcott Road, and then sort of below the commercial section, there's the Allen Brook sort of runs north to south. Here, let me put it up here so everybody can see. And I'll zoom in a little bit.
It was up on the Zoom share, Melinda, and now we lost it.
Okay, let me see if I get it back. Okay. How's that? You see it now?
Yes.
Let's see if I can zoom in here. All right. So, so anyway, a group of folks from Sustainable Williston, they planted a bunch of trees here on this Talcott Road site recently. They've also done an inventory of the existing, this is a previously planted site from, I think, 2014. So they did an inventory of the plantings and how they were doing. And they did they sort of did an enhancement planting, I think over on this side here. So they're going to continue to monitor the survival of the plants and continue to work on that site. But they also had some great ideas, like trying to engage some of the commercial landowners over here to plant on this side of the stream,
That's a great idea.
over here especially. So I thought that was a great idea.
There was also appeared to be some mowing that was encroaching.
Yeah,
Just above your hand there. Yeah, there's just to the right of that, there's a little area that you can see mown. Yeah, right between the arrow and your hand there. Yep, appeared to be mowing going on down below. So just something to take note of.
so rather than kind of using the stick approach of going and yelling at them for mowing, and
We can ask them to plant some stuff.
you can sort of ask to partner with them on improving habitat, right? So using a more of a carrot
Right.
positive approach, I think, is probably, I think that's a great idea. And then and then they also talked about potentially doing some enhancement planting of this site over here behind the fire station. And also had this idea about maybe even turning this whole area into like a mini town forest and engaging the school in kind of improving the habitat back here. Because it is an area that they use. They use this area down here.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So, and then also working with Ethan to explore some ideas of how to enhance the riparian forest. So I think all of those, I think there's a lot of potential for some good engagement there, and I'm glad it's really great to kind of, see a sustainable Williston sort of move forward with some of these ideas. I think
Yeah,
it's
that's fantastic.
So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And Reed, if you have anything to add about that stuff.
No, I was just going to add, I think Chapin said that somebody from Vermont Fish and Wildlife looked at it with him as well to take a look at what species were surviving and not surviving, try to get some lessons learned from that. And in the area marked with the red outline on the east end toward the school, I know there's some invasive species issues in that area. So I know Chapin's been thinking about different ways that if a reforestation effort was done, how some invasive removal could be combined with that. Certainly planting in that area is going to require some maintenance because it's pretty dense grass scrub type area right now. So to get the seedlings, to get the saplings to take, it's going to require some clearing out of the area and then keeping it clear as they grow. I see Reed putting a comment as well in the chat here.
I live on Seth Circle. It might be helpful to inform area residents about work being done to enhance these areas. A lot of people use paths and trails recreationally and to walk dogs, and they might use more care if they knew the town was paying attention. This includes Seth Circle and Indian Ridge residents. Yeah, that's a good point.
Reed, is Seth Circle the first neighborhood on the left there as you go in Talcott?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, there was some outreach done through the HOA there. I know Chapin worked with the president of the HOA to try to get residents aware that this was going on, and even I think one of them even came down and helped with some of the work. But we want to do more of that. It's just
That's
challenging to get to
interesting to
people.
hear, because my experience with my HOA is that they're very closed-mouthed.
Interesting.
They don't share a lot of information with residents.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think there wasn't as much outreach as we had hoped for, but Chapin was trying to communicate with them.
At any rate, I don't know, I met with Chapin to discuss this and how the town could support this work. And so I think the way we left it was, you know, I would offer to kind of continue to support in whatever way we could, like if it means, you know, applying for a grant, if they wanted to do, you know, anything that required funding, like additional plantings or educational outreach or signage or anything like that.
Yeah,
So,
and Kim had mentioned that,
urban community forestry program.
right.
Right. Yeah, so that
Yep.
might be a good. So
grants,
anyway. But yeah, they're continuing to kind of take the lead on this effort, and then you know, we can support those efforts to the degree that, you know.
We should
Yeah.
make a note of this in the next, I know it's far off now since we just drafted ours for the last fiscal year, but in our annual report, we should mention this work.
Really. Yeah,
Oh, it's a good idea.
yeah, well, actually, the
It
planting
started in last fiscal year.
started, so we, you know, we could mention it in this report.
You could mention in the prior year's report that that work began, volunteer work began at a previously planted site
Yeah,
off of Talcott, and then in the next report we could mention kind of the outcomes of it.
yeah, that's a good idea. I'm making a note of that. Okay,
Anytime we have engagement from any partners or volunteers, it's good to get that into the report.
Mhm.
Does Williston and Bloom ever work with the Conservation Commission on what to plant? As far as where they're planting, are they planting for pollinators or just? I don't know what Williston and Bloom does besides plant gardens.
I
and make
think
the town look nice.
I think they have a page in the annual report. I want to
Oh,
say
they
that they do, but
Okay.
I can't say that I've read it.
Okay. Yeah,
Are
it's-
they as active as they used to be? And years ago, they were really active. I haven't heard much about
Oh,
it
I
in
don't know.
recent years.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know really anything about.
I don't know anything about it either, but they could be a good partner as far as, you know, putting out. We've been talking about native shrubs and trees. They could
Yeah,
be a good partner in doing that.
yeah, at least like, I've often thought that the work they do is sort of more formal plantings around the
Right.
village and
Yeah.
the town, but yeah, like definitely planting native species and enhancing.
Yeah, I mean, they could be invited to help plant trees in these areas once we know what to do and which trees. We just need able-bodied folks who are willing to volunteer time. That's an opportunity.
Okay, yeah, I'll keep my eye out for if Wilson and Bloom's doing anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
One semi-related note, the beaver dam looked as though it had been freed up. Was that human intervention, or did anybody else notice that?
the beaver dam at Talcott.
Yeah,
Talcott Road? No, I don't know anything about that.
my wife mentioned it the other day. She drove by and said that the beaver dam was not visible and the water level was way down. So
It could be human intervention, likely, but
Mhm.
not by this hand.
Anyway,
Public works.
just worth noting.
Do public work, do they go in and deal with beavers?
I'm
if
sure
it's-
they do.
Oh,
If it's interfering with
Oh.
roads and culverts and
Right,
bridges. yeah.
okay, yeah. All right.
Anyway,
Good
All
news is
right.
the beavers will understand and not make any more dams.
Yeah, right.
If they're still alive.
Yeah, that's the thing. Reed, are you still involved with Sustainable Williston, or?
I am
No.
very casually involved right now. It's not my priority, but I keep in touch with the folks.
Okay, just
Mhm.
curious.
Who's kind of in charge of that?
There isn't much in charge, but I would say Kaylin McCamp, who works in the sustainability team at UVM, helps organize a lot. Lynn Blevins helps organize with this. It's kind of a team effort. Historically, there was a period where I was acting as chair to help organize everything, but obviously not these days.
Mhm.
Mhm.
All right. Does anybody have anything else to add to that conversation? If not, we can go on to talk about the annual report. Has anybody added anything? I know I added Melinda to the bottom of the first paragraph. Somebody mentioned that we should mention that a member of the commission is required to serve on the Catamount Community Forest Management Committee, so.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, in terms of duties. I
yeah,
did not make any updates, and Linda, you said you had comments off to the right, so I had not seen that. I'll take a look at that.
Do you see, am I sharing the right screen at this point, the drive?
Yes, I see on the right it says your comment that needs updating. Carl will update, so I'll go through and look at the comments. I didn't have the comment feature turned on.
Yeah, and right, so now I've shared the editable document with you all, and you can continue to kind of work away on this, and I've done a little bit of work on it.
Yeah.
Looks like you've done some work on it, right?
yeah, I put in some stuff about the Eastern ash borer,
Yeah. Yep.
if you think that's appropriate.
Yep. Yeah, so anyway, we will, continue to kind of come back and see how this is going, and at some point it'll be done, and and we can send it along.
Yeah, it's good to do it now because definitely
Yeah,
our memories,
right.
yeah, don't
Okay.
have to work too hard.
The financial, I've got all the financial information from the IRS except for the balance and
Oh, yeah, okay.
so, should be.
It's a lot more than 3,473.
You bet, add a couple of hundred thousand.
Good. Sounds good.
All right. So I was reviewing Robert's Rules of Order since I'm chair. And if the chair can just declare the meeting's over, if the time of the meeting's over, or if we've finished the agenda, but
Yep.
if it's before, then I can ask if there's any other business that anyone wants to talk about.
I'm all set.
All right, I declare this meeting adjourned.
I love it.
right. Well, bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for working on the owl.
Well, it wasn't me, it was Emily who saved the day, so.
Well, you told Emily to come save the day, so you're the bat signal.
All right, see you later.
Bye.
Because I've always had it in